Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about how to make your own egg yarn tool and how to tie your own eggs with very few flaws. I know that they can be challenging. Sometimes the blood dot will spin around to the side or turn into two blood dots, but I came up with a simple tool that will make this very, very easy for you to tie very precise, professional looking egg yarn eggs. Some ones that look like these right here. I got these. These are the ones I tied using my egg yarn tool, and these are some bead egg ones that you can see in one of my other videos as well. So, alright, here we go. The first thing you're going to need is an ink pen, like this one right here. This type of ink pen where it has the insert in there. And you need to take it apart, like that, and pull out the ink thing, toss that. What you need is this piece. You can see the hole in there is really just about the right size, but yet it accommodates quite a lot. I know you may have seen other videos where they use a drinking straw and then tie on this end, but I've found that this little tiny end really works a lot better for grouping the yarn the way you like it and having very few flaws in your fly. So this is a little too long, so you want to cut that down to maybe between 2 and 3 inches, somewhere right here. So you can either use a utility knife or, single-sided razor blade. That's what I'm going to use. And you just want to cut it, just roll it on the blade on a hard surface. So that's the piece you need right there. And then what you're going to do is thread your yarn through there. Today I'm going to tie in my ghosty pattern of like this pale green color. I'm going to use in the McFly foam right now. You can use either the regular glow bug yarn or this McFly foam. And I'm going to make a pale green egg with a light blue blood dot, sort of a good color to fish right at dusk, or at least I think so. So what you need to do first is you only need a little bit of the blue, because that's going to make the blood dot, or the pink if it's the blood dot color. So just separate some out. Again, this works the same way as it does with the yarn. Just pull some out. You don't need very much at all, really, because that's going to double over and make it double thick on each fly. So just a little bit of that. This right here, this amount here is roughly equivalent to, say, 2 glow bug yarn pieces. And this will make a pretty good size egg right here, like on maybe a number 6 hook or something to fish for salmon, which is what I'm tying right now. Okay, so what you're going to do then is take your 2 strands of your glow bug yarn or your big fat wide lump of the McFly foam and just lay that on there in sort of a flat kind of way. Just lay it right on the crease between the two of them. Doesn't have to be too precise. Just like that. You don't need a piece much longer than maybe 6 inches or so. If you get it longer than that, I mean, you can, but it gets kind of fiddly because it'll flop around on you when you're doing it, when you're trying to tie it. So then what you need to do is you need your threader, and you push that in through the point end, and of course that leaves you with this little loop here, and then just pinch this down really tight so you can thread through there pretty easily, like so. Hopefully better than I'm doing it. Alright, then what you need to do is make sure you got it on there just by a little ways, maybe a ½ inch, and then pull it through. It should be fairly hard to pull through. If it's really easy to pull through, you're going to lose some of the effectiveness of the tool. As to if you were using the regular straw, it fits really loose through there. You want it to fit snug. The snugness will help you later. I'll show you how that works. Should be a little bit tough to pull through. Oop, the pen can come apart apparently. Yeah, and then once you get that through, you can unfold that and pull this threader off. And it looks about like that with the blue and the right on top. You can pull that back so you don't waste very much. And the other handy part about this is you don't waste much. If you tie eggs without a tool of any kind, you're going to waste a lot of yarn. Not that the yarn's expensive. I just hate to have my waste bin be 5 times as fat as my fly box. So anyway, so then here's the hook I'm going to be using right now is this Gamakatsu C14S, and that is in the size 10, and it's very much like the Tiemco 105 standard glow bug hook, except that the very point of the hook kind of curves back toward the shank just a little bit, as opposed to a straight point on the 105. I like this hook. It's a really heavy hook. I'm going to take it salmon fishing with me here soon. Other options are, if I'm fishing steelhead, I like these, the Tiemco 2488H. That's the heavy wire one. This is in a size 14, nice little tiny one. That's a really good hook for tying super tiny little glowing eggs for steelhead, because steelhead eggs are a lot smaller than salmon eggs. I'm sure you know that. I've also tied them successfully on these just standard wet nymph hooks. This happens to be the Daiichi 1530s. That's also a good egg hook as well. Alright, so place your hook in your vise. The first thing you want to do is give yourself a few wraps, put it right in the middle of the shank. Just enough wraps to hold that down in place. Cut off your excess. And wherever you place this line on the hook, if I have the line up here, that's going to be the middle of my egg. So you want to think about where you finish. I like mine to be back this way. The diameter of my egg is going to be small enough that half the egg doesn't extend over to the eye. You know, from here to the eye. You don't want that to be a shorter distance than half the egg diameter. So I'm going to start right there. Then again, you take the blood dot part, make sure that's right on top, in the middle, like that. And you just put it right on the top, on the center. I know you see some patterns, people are tying them this way, and that's a possibility. I like to do them this way. And you're going to make 4 wraps. The first wrap is the important one, because if you've ever tied eggs, I'm sure you've had it where some of the yarn material pulls to the underside of the hook, and then when you lift it up to cut it, you kind of, or tie it off, you feel like you got all this stuff that's under the hook, and you don't want to interfere with your hook gap, this distance here. You want to have maximum jaw hooking ability right there. So you want the egg to be truly centered up here with some of the fluff down below, but mostly on top. So this tool helps you keep it up there. And here's how it works to have that smaller diameter. So your first wrap, you're going to go around, and you don't want to pull it tight until you've come back under the hook shank and pull this way, like that. And then you can seize it down pretty good. And then do 3 more wraps. 1, 2, 3 more. So that's a total of 4 wraps. And then what you want to do is lift up the front like this and make 2 wraps around the shank of the hook. That kind of locks it in for this next step, because you're going to hold this and pull out some more. Pull out some more yarn. Quite a bit more, because you want to get your next fly started. You don't want to cut off too close to the top of it. Alright, then what you're going to do is you stand these 2 up and make sure that the 2 blood dot sections meet each other nicely. Like that. And while you've got this stood up, you take this, then you go over top of the hook shank and around the back and hand it to yourself, so that it goes, you're just wrapping around the base. You're on top of the hook, wrapping around the base of the yarn. I usually make 4 wraps there too. Okay. And then I'm going to make 2 wraps just so that it's not coming loose, and then I'm going to tie off. You don't really need a giant knot on this. I only use 3, because you're going to put super glue on it, or some kind of glue on it, to hold it in place, so you don't need a lot of knot. Just a lot of glue. And then again, you want to stand up the blood dot to the blood dot part. Try to lift it in as perfectly round and conical. I mean, you don't want a big flat wide thing, because then it won't cut evenly. You want to lift this round and whatever, and then ask yourself, how big a diameter do I want? And then cut about half of that. So I'm picking about 3/16 of an inch. And cut that off. Okay, now before you fluff it up, it's a good idea to glue it. So I'm flipping it over. You can even pull this down. You can see if I pull it down, I don't have any yarn in that string in there. None. It's just the thread. I was using 6/0 uni thread. You wouldn't want to use anything smaller than that because you kind of need to pull tight to make sure it's good and tight, and you don't want to break it off. Then you want to add a little bit of super glue. It's somewhat important that you don't add too much super glue, because if you have a lot of glue on there, it'll soak into the fly itself and make the whole fly kind of hard. And when it dries, you'll see it'll be all crunchy and tough. And I think it actually kind of makes it somewhat water resistant, and it won't saturate and sink like you want it to. So you just want to get the threads wet. And then flip it over and fluff, and make sure you don't spin it around the hook as you're fluffing while it hasn't dried yet. And you just fluff nicely there. You can see I've just barely missed my eyelet. There you go, and let those dry before you put them in your fly box again, so you don't get the super glue white stuff on it. And this is, I know my video quality is not so great, but this is a nice pale green with blue. It kind of looks like a glow-in-the-dark little fly. So this is one of my favorite egg patterns to tie. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you make one of these tools. You'll be happy. It really keeps you from screwing them up. You'll get a lot of really perfect eggs. All right, thanks for watching.